She wasn't just a stranger. The rain poured like it was angry at the world. Jaden didn't slow down. His hoodie was soaked, sneakers splashing through puddles as he jogged past shuttered stores and flickering street lamps. Most people were already home, but he'd stayed late working his second shift at the garage. He was just trying to make it back to his one-bedroom apartment, crack open a microwavable dinner, and pass out in front of the TV until he saw her. She stood in the middle of the sidewalk near the corner of 9th and Ellery, clutching her stomach like it was all she had left in the world. Her long coat clung to her body, her hood half fallen, revealing tangled hair and wide, frightened eyes. Her lips trembled, not just from the cold, but from something deeper. Jaden slowed, his instincts nudging at him. He'd seen people in trouble before. Living in East Point long enough, you knew the signs. Too quiet, too alert, like they expected the ground to disappear beneath them. "Hey," he called out, stopping a few feet away. "You okay?" The woman flinched at his voice. She glanced. Over her shoulder, eyes scanning the street. I think someone's following me," she whispered. Jaden followed her gaze. A dark sedan idled across the street. No headlights, no movement, his stomach twisted. "You sure?" She nodded quickly, too quickly. "I can't go back that way." "All right," he said, keeping his voice calm. "We'll head toward 8th. It's well lit. There are shops open. There are security cameras. Come on." He didn't wait for her to argue. Something told him if she stood still much longer, she'd either bolt or freeze. She hesitated, then followed him, walking fast, almost too close behind him, like the air between them was the only thing protecting her. "What's your name?" he asked, trying to make her feel safe. She looked up at him for a second, measuring him, and then said, "Call me Layla. Not my name is, just call me." Jaden didn't press her. He knew a fake name when he heard one. Still, there was something about her. Wounded but strong. Afraid but determined to survive. He respected that. They moved in silence, the sound of the rain filling the spaces between their footsteps. As they neared the 24-hour convenience store on the corner, Jaden glanced behind them again. The sedan was gone. But that didn't ease the tension crawling up his spine. Inside the store, the harsh fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The cashier, a teenage kid on his phone, barely looked up. Layla stepped inside and hovered near the shelves of instant noodles and dusty cereal boxes. Jaden grabbed a bottle of water, handed it to her without a word. She accepted it with a nod, unscrewed the cap, and drank like she hadn't had anything in hours. "You got anyone you can call?" he asked quietly. "I can't," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "They'll trace it." "Who?" he asked. She hesitated. "It's safer if you don't know." That was not the answer of a random woman in a rough neighborhood. "Look, if you're in trouble, real trouble, I can help you get to the police, or at least a shelter." "No!" she snapped, a little too loud. The cashier looked over. She lowered her voice. "No cops, no hospitals, no questions." Jaden's jaw tensed. "You're pregnant, and someone's following you." "Exactly," she said. "I can't afford to trust anyone." He took a slow breath, heart pounding. "You trusted me enough to walk with me." Her eyes met his. Soft, tired, but fierce. "I didn't have a choice," she said. "But I'm grateful you stopped." That should have been the end of it. He should have left it there, but something about her felt unfinished, like a thread he couldn't stop tugging on. Outside, thunder rolled, long and low. Jaden glanced out the store window and froze. The dark sedan was back, parked across the street again, engine running. No one got out. He turned back to Layla. "It's here. The car." Her body went rigid. She didn't even look. She just stepped closer to him, like she already knew. "Come on," he said, heading for the back exit of the store. "Let's go out the alley." Layla followed him without question. They slipped through the rear door into the pouring rain, Jayden scanning the narrow alley for movement. The dumpster smelled like rot, and broken glass glittered beneath their feet. They moved quickly, turned down another alley, then another, zigzagging through the back routes until they reached a main road. Jayden stopped to catch his breath. Layla leaned against a brick wall, hands on her stomach. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm used to running," she said, not looking at him. "That's not okay," he replied. They stood there for a moment, both drenched and shivering. "Look," Jayden said slowly, "I don't know who you are or what you're running from, but if you need a place to crash for a night, I got a couch. No pressure, just somewhere warm." She looked at him, skeptical. "Why are you being nice to me? I've been in dark places too," he said simply. Layla didn't answer, but when he turned and started walking, she followed. Jayden's apartment wasn't much. One bedroom, couch with a lopsided leg, cracked tile in the kitchen. But it was warm, and it had a lock on the door. He handed her a towel and some old sweatpants from his closet. "They'll be big on you," he said, trying to keep it light. She changed in the bathroom. When she came out, the coat was gone, and Jayden finally saw how far along she was. At least 7 months. He heated up a can of soup, and they ate in silence. Layla barely touched hers. Jayden sat on the edge of the couch, fiddling with the TV remote, not turning it on. "You want to tell me anything?" Layla looked out the window, her voice hollow. "I made a mistake. I trusted someone I shouldn't have. And now they want to make me disappear." "Who?" She glanced at him. "You sure you want to know?" Jayden hesitated. "No, but I think I need to." Before she could answer, her phone buzzed. She grabbed it from her coat pocket and froze. Jayden leaned in. "What is it?" She slowly turned the screen toward him. It was a photo of Jayden from just minutes ago, unlocking the door to his apartment, taken from across the street. His blood ran cold. "How?" "I told you," she said softly. "They're watching everything." Jayden jumped to his feet and yanked the curtain shut. "They know where I live?" Layla stood too. "They knew the moment I walked with you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to drag you into this." "Who are you, Layla?" She stepped closer to him, pulled a small object from her coat pocket, a silver flash drive. "This has everything, names, accounts, evidence. I stole it. That's why they want me gone." Jayden stared at the tiny device. "What the hell is on that?" She held it out. "$1 billion secret," she whispered, and then she pressed it into his hand. Before he could speak, a car engine roared outside. Tires screeched. Jayden's heart raced. He ran to the window, lifted the curtain slightly. The black sedan was parked directly across the street, but this time a man stood outside it. Tall, dark coat, watching his window. Watching him when he turned away for just a second to call 911. Layla was gone. Coat, towel, everything. Gone, just like the first time. He turned in circles, breath quickening. The only thing left behind was the flash drive, in his hand, and a note slipped under his apartment door. 5 words, scrawled in shaky handwriting. "Don't trust anyone. Not yet." The flash drive wasn't the only secret. Jayden stood frozen in his living room, soaked socks glued to the floor, heart pounding like a war drum. The note sat in his hand, the ink already smudging from the rain on his fingers. "Don't trust anyone, not yet." Layla was gone, just like that. No door slam, no goodbye, no sound. She'd vanished into the night as quickly as she'd entered it, and she'd left him holding something that could apparently get people killed. He turned the flash drive over in his hand. It was cold, innocent looking. But he knew better. Whatever was on it, it wasn't small. $1 billion secret. That wasn't paranoia, that was deadly. Jayden walked over to the window, careful not to move the curtain too much. The black sedan was gone. So was the man. But somehow Jayden felt even more watched now than when the car was there. The next morning, Jayden hadn't slept. He kept the lights off, phone turned off, Curtains. Drawn. He sat at the kitchen table, staring at the flash drive like it might explode. He thought about calling the police. But then he remembered Layla's face, her trembling voice when she said, "No cops, no hospitals, no questions." If she was telling the truth, and this involved high-level corruption or criminal networks, the police might already be compromised. And then there was the message, "Don't trust anyone." His phone lit up. Unknown number. One new message. He didn't touch it. Instead, he walked to the back room, pulled out his old laptop, the one not connected to any cloud storage, barely functional, but secure in its own outdated way. He powered it on. It groaned to life. With shaky hands, he plugged in the flash drive. There were 2 folders. Folder 1, Layla, Truth. Folder 2, Phoenix 731. Docs. Jayden clicked the first one. Inside, dozens of scanned documents, photos, recordings, birth certificates, bank statements, ultrasound images, and one word that appeared over and over, Phoenix Biotech. Jayden clicked on one video file. A woman's voice crackled through. "If this is found, it means I didn't make it. Phoenix Biotech is not just selling pregnancy wellness supplements. They're running clinical trials on women who don't know they're being tested on. I was recruited as a surrogate, told I'd be part of a miracle procedure. But when I started asking questions, they cut me off. Then they started following me. The files attached show how they launder the money, the board members, the fake identities." Jayden sat back. His throat went dry. The date on the video was 2 months ago. Layla had been recording evidence. She hadn't just stolen information. She was the evidence, and that meant someone wanted her silenced permanently. He opened the second folder, Phoenix 731. Docs, hundreds of files, legal contracts signed under false names, company ledgers, a document titled Trial Compensation Agreements, terminated subjects. His hands started shaking. One of the terminated subjects was listed as Layla M. The rest of her last name was redacted. Next to it, compensation. $0. Status, unresolved. Action, subject considered a risk. A knock at the door. Jayden slammed the laptop shut. Another knock. 3 slow taps. He didn't move. Then, his phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. A text. "We know you have it. Give it up and this ends quietly." Jayden stared at the message, then back at the door. The knock came again. He backed away, heartbeat pounding in his ears. Whoever was out there, if they wanted in, they wouldn't knock twice. He grabbed his hoodie, shoved the flash drive in his sock, and slid the laptop into a grocery bag. He slipped out the back window, dropped to the alley behind the building, and took off down the street without looking back. The library. Jayden hadn't stepped foot in the city library in 2 years. It was quiet, warm, safe. For now. He took a seat in a corner near the genealogy records. No cameras, no people nearby. Then, using a public computer, he searched Phoenix Biotech scandal. Nothing, he tried. Phoenix Biotech lawsuit. Phoenix Biotech illegal surrogacy program. Still nothing. They had wiped the internet clean. He opened a burner email account and attached the flash drive contents to a draft, just in case. Then, he noticed something weird. Inside one of the documents Layla saved, a note was embedded in the file metadata. "If you're reading this, go to room 237, Sunrise Motel, Route 11. Ask for Kara. Mention the word Redbird." Jayden read it 3 times. It sounded like something out of a spy movie, but after last night, nothing felt fictional anymore. He logged off, grabbed his bag, and headed for the Sunrise Motel. Sunrise Motel, Route 11. It was a place people went to forget things, peeling paint, rusted Coke machine, cigarette burns on every surface. Jayden walked to the front desk, where a thin woman in a hoodie looked up from behind a partition. "I'm looking for Kara," he said carefully. The woman squinted. "What's this about?" He hesitated, then said, "Redbird." She blinked, slowly, then stood up and motioned for him to follow. She led him down the hallway to room 237, knocked once, then left. The door opened. Jayden expected a grizzled ex-cop or some hacker in their 20s. Instead, a woman who looked barely 30, hair in a tight braid, eyes sharp and scanning, stood in front of him. She wore no makeup, just jeans and a black thermal. "You're Jayden," she said without inflection. He froze. "How do you know that?" "I was tracking Layla and you." She stepped aside. "Come in." He entered. The room smelled of strong coffee and gun oil. A large corkboard covered the wall, covered with maps, photos, strings, post-its. "At the center, Phoenix Biotech." "I don't understand," he said. "Who are you?" "I'm Kara, used to work inside Phoenix Biotech, left when I realized what they were doing." "And what were they doing?" he asked, already knowing he wouldn't like the answer. Kara pointed at a photo of pregnant women in hospital beds. They were experimenting with unapproved synthetic hormones, injections that could supposedly correct defective fetal DNA. But the trials failed. Most pregnancies ended in miscarriage, stillbirth, or worse. Jayden swallowed hard. "And Layla?" "She survived," Kara said, "and her baby survived. That made her valuable. But when she refused to give the baby over for further analysis, they came after her." Jayden's heart sank. "Wait, she's still pregnant. She ran. That means she's trying to deliver in hiding," Kara said. "They don't want her dead. They want the child. But if she won't cooperate, they might change their minds." Jayden sat on the bed, processing everything. "She gave me the flash drive, told me not to trust anyone." "Smart," Kara replied. "Even smarter to disappear again. She's not just running for her life. She's buying time for the truth to surface." Jayden pulled the flash drive from his sock. "I need to get this to someone who can actually expose them." Kara took it gently. "You just did." That night, a motel revelation. Jayden stayed in the room, too exhausted to drive. Back. Kara made a fresh pot of coffee and worked quietly at her desk. At around midnight, her burner phone buzzed. She answered, and her expression shifted. Alarm. Confusion. "What?" "Say that again." Jayden looked up. She ended the call and turned to him. "Layla's in labor." His stomach dropped. "Where?" "A safe house clinic downtown. One of our allies. But there's a problem." "What?" "She never registered under any name. She came in with a different ID, and then—" "Then what?" he demanded. Kara's voice was tight. "She vanished. Again, mid-contraction." Jayden blinked. "That's not possible." Kara held up her phone. "Security footage shows 2 nurses wheeling her out. One was real, one wasn't. We think Phoenix Biotech intercepted her location." "They've got her!" Jayden stood up. "We have to go." "No," Kara said. "It's a trap. They're expecting someone to follow." "I am going," he said. "With or without you." Kara studied him. "You care about her." He didn't. "Answer," she sighed. "Then you'd better hear this first." She pulled a file from her bag and handed it to him. It was Layla's real ID, and when Jayden read her full name, his entire body went cold. He'd seen that name before, in the obituary section 1 year ago. She was supposed to be dead. The woman who was supposed to be dead, Jayden, stared at the name printed on the old hospital file Kara handed him. Layla Monroe. Date of death, March 18th last year. His fingers trembled as he reread the document. Same name, same face, same woman. But the file said she was dead, buried, funeral held, cremated. Jayden looked up, voice barely steady. "This can't be. I just met her. I held her hand. She's alive." Kara nodded grimly. She faked her death. It was the only way to vanish. Phoenix Biotech thought she was gone for good, until she surfaced again, and you found her. Or, "She found me," Jaden murmured, remembering her swollen stomach, the panic in her voice, the blood on her shirt. He paced the motel room, adrenaline kicking in. Why did she come back now? Why risk everything? Kara walked to the corkboard and pointed at a grainy image, a security still of Layla in a hospital hallway. She didn't choose to resurface. Someone else found her. A nurse working undercover in one of Phoenix's trial hospitals recognized her during a prenatal appointment. Word got out. Layla went underground again, but it was too late. They were watching her. Jaden's eyes narrowed. So she wasn't planning to drag anyone else in. She was just trying to run. Kara nodded. And now they have her, while she's in labor. A desperate plan Kara snapped into action. She grabbed a duffel bag from under the bed and tossed it on the mattress. I've been preparing for this, she said. If they've taken her, she's either at the abandoned clinic upstate or the lab under the old Phoenix corporate office downtown. Which one do we check first? Jaden asked. Kara looked at him. You're not coming. The hell I'm not. It's not safe. She trusted me. Kara saw the fire in his eyes and sighed. Then we go in with eyes open. We've got one shot. If we guess wrong, we lose her and the baby for good. Jaden clenched his fists. Then we don't. Yes, we think like them. We outsmart them. Kara opened a folder of surveillance data and threw 2 maps on the table. We compare patterns, deliveries, transport logs. If they moved her, they used a private route, hidden. Jaden scanned both maps, then stopped. This route here, he said, pointing to a dashed line cutting through an industrial zone. It's unmarked, but it shows up in both schematics. Kara's eyes lit up. That's a sterilized supply corridor. No cameras, only used for high-risk transport. Then that's how they moved her. And that means Kara grabbed her phone, did some quick tracing, then looked up. They didn't go north. They went downtown, Jaden finished. Phoenix, Biotech's underground lab. The building had been shut down for months. Officially, it was under renovation. In reality, it was a ghost shell, one with a heartbeat beneath the concrete. Jaden and Kara arrived just after midnight, parked in a lot 2 blocks away. The air was cold, heavy with anticipation. They crept to a side entrance, shielded by fencing and rubble. Kara picked the lock in under a minute. Inside, the hallways were quiet, but the walls buzzed faintly, like wires humming with secrets. They moved silently through the dark until they reached a stairwell leading underground. Kara paused and pointed at the floor. Boot prints, fresh. Jaden's pulse quickened. They descended into a tunnel where sterile lights flickered to life as they moved. A door ahead had a security scanner, card, and fingerprint. Kara pulled out a stolen access card and pressed it to the pad. Beep, access granted. The door clicked open. Inside, silence. Until a faint cry, a baby's cry. Jaden's heart jumped. Then voices, fast, angry. Kara held up a hand. They know we're here. They moved fast, weaving through rows of equipment, surgical beds, incubators, until they reached a sealed room. Through the glass, Jaden saw her. Layla, pale, weak, strapped to a bed, tubes in her arms. A doctor leaning over her, injecting something into her IV. "Stop!" Jaden shouted, banging on the door. The doctor looked up, startled, then hit a button on the wall. Lockdown initiated. Alarms blared, red lights flashed. The door slid shut. With a metallic thunk, Kara turned to him. "Get back, I'm blowing it!" Jaden backed away as Kara pulled a small charge from her bag, attached it to the lock, and covered her ears. Boom! Smoke! Sparks! Screaming! They rushed in. The doctor tried to grab a syringe, but Jaden tackled him to the floor. Kara ripped the IV from Layla's arm and unstrapped her wrists. Layla blinked slowly, barely conscious. "The baby!" "We've got you," Jaden said, helping her sit up. "You're going to be okay." Kara scanned the room. No infant. They must have taken it already. Jaden's blood turned to ice. "No!" Layla tried to speak, her lips cracked. Girl, they took her. Said she was a successful prototype. Jayden looked to Kara. Where would they take her? Kara's face went dark. There's a chamber, cryo holding, just down the corridor, for DNA mapping. Jayden stood. Then let's move. The Chamber of Shadows, they reached the cryo lab 2 minutes later. The doors were locked, but this time Kara used her backup credentials. Inside were rows of transparent pods, 6 of them glowing softly, cold mist curling from vents. Only one was occupied. A tiny baby girl lay swaddled in wires, her chest rising slowly. Monitors tracked her heart rate, oxygen levels, temperature. Layla gasped, clutching Jayden's arm. She's mine. Jayden moved to the pod, but a guard burst in, gun drawn. Don't move! Kara raised her hand slowly. You shoot, and the cryo unit destabilizes. She dies. The guard hesitated. Jayden took the chance. He lunged, knocking the weapon aside. Kara kicked the guard's legs out and he crashed to the floor. Get the baby, she shouted. Jayden unlocked the chamber, pulled out the infant and wrapped her in Kara's emergency blanket. Layla reached out, weeping. My baby. Jayden handed her over carefully. She's safe now. But as Kara tied up the unconscious guard, she noticed something on his uniform. A pin. Phoenix Biotech's old logo, crossed out in red. Her eyes narrowed. This guy wasn't Phoenix, she said. He was trying to take the baby from them. Jayden looked at the man, stunned. Then who was he working for? They didn't have time to answer. Overhead, speakers blared. Unauthorized breach detected. Security en route. Evacuate immediately. Kara grabbed Layla's wheelchair and looked at Jayden. You ready to run again? He nodded. Let's go. The escape and a warning. They raced through the tunnel system, Kara guiding them to a rear exit through an old maintenance shaft. As they burst out into the alley behind the complex, Jayden could see red and blue lights flashing in the distance. Too close. They piled into Kara's SUV, Layla cradling the baby tightly as they sped into the night. Jayden looked in the mirror, breath shallow. That guy in the lab. Why would he have Phoenix's old logo crossed out? Kara's knuckles tightened on the wheel. It means there's a breakaway faction. Someone else is running a parallel operation. Worse than Phoenix. Layla stirred. Weakly in the back seat, there's a man. They called him the Shepherd. He gives orders, even the board follows. Kara's eyes went wide. I thought he was just a rumor. Jayden's stomach dropped. Who is he? Layla looked down at her baby. The man who created her. The Shepherd's code. The SUV hummed through the night as city lights disappeared. In the rearview mirror, the baby whimpered in Layla's arms, her small body warm but fragile, still wrapped in Kara's silver emergency blanket. Layla kissed her daughter's forehead, silent tears falling. Jayden looked back from the front seat. She needs a hospital. Layla shook her head instantly. No, no hospitals. Not yet. She's a newborn. She needs medical care. Jayden insisted. She'll be taken, Layla said, her voice raw. The Shepherd has people everywhere. Kara pressed harder on the gas. We'll stop at a safe house first. I know a medic who doesn't ask questions. Jayden didn't press further, not yet, but his jaw stayed tight, thoughts spinning. Who was the Shepherd? Why did Layla call him the creator of her child? And what had they just pulled this innocent baby out of the safe house? It was tucked away in the woods, 2 hours outside the city. A cabin that looked abandoned from the outside, but hummed with quiet life inside. Kara unlocked the door, with a fingerprint scanner hidden under a fake knot in the wood. Inside, warmth, canned food stacked neatly, solar-powered batteries, and a fully stocked emergency clinic. Jayden helped Layla inside. She collapsed onto a cot with her baby still clutched to her chest. A short, no-nonsense woman stepped out from the back room, Dr. Luann Moss, late 50s, sharp eyes, grey streaks in her tight bun. I'll need 5 minutes with the baby, she said firmly. Layla hesitated. I'm not with them, Dr. Moss added softly. I was against them before you were ever in the system. That convinced Layla barely. She handed over the baby, trembling. Jayden followed Dr. Moss into the clinic room, pacing. She looks stable, the doctor said after a quick exam. Vitals are strong. She's a fighter, but she has markings on her leg. Jayden frowned. What kind of markings? Dr. Moss pulled back the blanket to show a tiny barcode tattooed on the baby's thigh, just above the knee. Biotech branding, she muttered. Jayden's stomach turned. They marked her like property. No, Dr. Moss said, like a prototype. The files they shouldn't have found. While the baby slept, Jayden joined Kara in the cabin's small command room. She was at the computer, flipping through files. Pulled from the Phoenix facility they'd just raided. Most of this is encrypted, she said, but some of the imaging logs were raw. She opened a folder titled Project Shepherd. Inside were images, ultrasounds, gene sequencing maps, behavioral scans of infants, and notes, subject L0.2b. Second viable gestational success. Genetic enhancements holding stable. Estimated intelligence projection, 245 plus IQ. Jayden stared at the screen. That's the baby, Kara nodded. They weren't just experimenting on Layla, they were engineering her baby. He scrolled down. Another note caught his eye. Subject derived from Shepherd's seed line Alpha. Maternal. Host selected based on resilience index. Memory suppression successful. Jayden blinked. Wait, Shepherd's seed line? Kara leaned forward. They didn't just alter her baby. They implanted her. Jayden went cold. You mean Layla never had a relationship? Never got pregnant naturally? She was part of a controlled fertilization project, Kara said. They chose her. Not for who she was, but for how much trauma she could survive without breaking. Jayden slammed his hand against the table. That's not science. That's sadism. Kara didn't respond. Then she clicked open one more folder, a surveillance video, Layla, months ago, sitting in a Phoenix facility cell, talking to a man, with a shaved head in a white coat, tall, cold, smiling. Kara froze the frame and enhanced the face. Layla's voice echoed in Jayden's memory. They called him the Shepherd. The Shepherd speaks later that night, after checking on Layla and her baby, now named Soleil. After the French word for sun, Jayden found himself sitting outside on the porch, air sharp with mountain cold. His phone buzzed. A blocked number. He answered. Silence. Then a voice. Low, confident, chilling. I see you've grown fond of the child. Jayden stood up, heart racing. Who is this? You know who I am, the voice said. And I know who you are, Jayden. You're not part of this. You stumbled into it. But you've become inconvenient. Jayden walked further from the house, scanning the trees. If you're watching, come out and face me. The Shepherd chuckled. Not tonight. But I wanted you to understand. Soleil isn't a mistake. She's a revolution, and she doesn't belong to you or Layla. Jayden's fists clenched. She belongs to herself. No, the voice said sharply. She belongs to the future, a future you can't comprehend. That child's blood contains keys to humanity's next stage, and I will reclaim her. Click. The call ended. Jayden stood in the cold silence, skin crawling. They weren't just running from a corporation. They were running from a man who believed he was building gods. Layla's truth. At sunrise, Layla sat by the window, Soleil sleeping in her arms. Her face looked older, heavier, not just from exhaustion, but from memories returning. Jayden sat beside her, gently. You said they wiped your memory, Layla nodded. I remember now, little flashes, needles, screens. They called me Vessel. I tried to scream, but I couldn't speak. They sedated me again and again, her voice cracked. I wasn't supposed to carry love, just life. And when I started loving her, singing to her, dreaming of her, they said I was defective, that emotion compromised the trial. Jayden reached out, took her hand. "You're not defective. You're her mother." Layla looked at him. "Why did you help me?" he thought for a moment. "Because the first time I saw you, something told me you weren't running from guilt. You were running from monsters." She smiled faintly, eyes welling. Jayden leaned closer. "And I'll help you keep running, until you're safe. Both of you." Layla's eyes locked on his. "I don't want to run forever." "Then we'll end this, the blood that holds the code, Doctor." Moss called them into the clinic that afternoon. She held a vial of Soleil's blood, freshly drawn. "I ran a few tests. I wasn't going to, but there's something unusual." Kara looked at her warily. "How unusual?" "This baby has markers I've never seen in a living human, genetic sequences that resemble CRISPR edits, but they're cleaner, as if she wasn't modified. She was designed." Jayden frowned. "Designed for what?" Dr. Moss hesitated. "Her immune system is beyond anything I've seen. It fights off synthetic viruses in simulation tests. She metabolizes faster. And there are patterns in her brain scans that suggest cognitive development far beyond her age." Layla cradled Soleil tighter. "What does that mean?" "It means," Dr. Moss said slowly, "your daughter could be the most advanced biological creation in human history." Jayden felt the weight of the words settle in the room like thunder. "She's not a prototype," Kara said quietly. "She's their finished product, the hidden flash drive before nightfall." Jayden helped Kara search through the remaining Phoenix files again, hoping to find a location or contact tied to the shepherd. That's when they found it, taped inside. The back cover of one of the documents, a tiny black flash drive. Kara plugged it in, and one encrypted file popped up, S-Genesis V5.8. She ran decryption tools. It took 10 minutes. Then it opened. Inside was a list of names, hundreds of them. Code names, ages, project statuses, test subjects, Jayden realized. Kara scrolled down. The last name was highlighted in red, L0.2B, Soleil. Status, extracted next to her file, coordinates, dated for tomorrow. Jayden read the numbers. "They're coming." Layla appeared at the door, holding her daughter. "Then we don't run." He turned to her. "We fight." The storm before. Dawn, a quiet tension settled over the safe house. Outside, the woods stood still, branches frozen in early morning mist. Inside, preparations moved like clockwork. Kara packed ammo. Jayden checked the perimeter sensors. Dr. Moss secured Soleil in a custom crib surrounded by biometric alarms. And Layla, with her baby in arms, stared out the window at the growing fog. "They'll be here before sundown?" Kara muttered, voice tight. Jayden nodded. "The shepherd doesn't bluff. He doesn't send warnings for nothing either," she added. "He's not just coming to reclaim the baby, he's coming to erase us all." Layla didn't turn around. "Then we give him a reason to regret ever trying." The last upload. Kara sat down at her laptop, typing furiously. "What are you doing?" Jayden asked. "Uploading every file we stole from Phoenix to 5 dead drop servers worldwide," she replied. "If we die tonight, the world will wake up. Tomorrow with proof." Jayden glanced at the screen. "Will anyone believe it?" "No," she said, "not right away. But they'll ask questions, the kind Phoenix can't afford." Jayden looked over her shoulder. One image froze him. The ultrasound of Soleil, her tiny body surrounded by algorithmic overlays and neural forecasts. "What if she's more than they say?" he asked quietly. Kara's hands paused on the keyboard. "Then she's not just their future. She's everyone's." The letter Layla sat at the cabin's wooden table, pen trembling in her hand. Jayden approached. "What's that?" "A letter," she said, "in case I don't make it." He sat beside her. "For Soleil," Layla continued, "I want her to know I fought, that I didn't let them define her." Jayden touched her arm gently. "You'll tell her yourself." Her voice cracked. "We don't know what they're bringing." Jayden didn't argue. Instead, he said, "If anything happens, I'll take her far away." Layla finally looked at him. "Would you really?" In a heartbeat, he replied. She's not mine. But I would raise her like she was. That moment hung in the air, quiet, fierce, unspoken promises binding them closer than blood. PM, the fog moves. The forest went silent. No birds, no wind, just a mechanical hum beneath the earth. Then a flicker in the trees, like shadows peeling themselves off bark. Jayden, crouched by a window, grabbed the binoculars. They're here! Through the scope, he saw them. 6 black vans rolling over the dirt road, quiet as death. Drones buzzed overhead, scanning heat signatures, Kara cursed. He brought his personal strike team. How many? Layla asked. Too many. Jayden loaded his rifle. Doesn't matter. Dr. Moss pressed a hand to Layla's shoulder. Go, take Soleil, down to the crawl space. No, Layla said firmly. If they want her, they'll have to go through me. Kara tossed Jayden. A flash grenade. We hold them off until the backup drive uploads. And if we die, he asked, we take as many of them with us as possible. 7:03 p.m. The invasion. The first explosion rocked the east wall of the cabin. Smoke poured in. Red lasers danced along the windows. Flashbangs out, Kara yelled. Jayden tossed one through the broken pane. Crack! Screams followed. The enemy fell back. But not for long. Gunfire tore into the front room. Dr. Moss was hit in the shoulder, dragged back by Jayden as Kara returned fire. Layla ducked low, shielding Soleil with her body. The baby whimpered but didn't cry, almost as if she sensed the danger and swallowed her fear. Then the voice returned, booming through speakers hidden in the woods. Layla, return what is mine. This is your final chance. It was the shepherd. The face of the enemy. Jayden kicked open the back door, firing at the shadows outside. He hit one, body armor crumpled, and another dropped beside a tree. 5 down, he called. Still 25 to go, Kara grunted. Then, footsteps, heavy, measured. Jayden turned and saw him at last, tall, unscarred, hair silver at the temples, eyes like frost. The shepherd walked through the fog, as if it parted for him. He didn't carry a weapon. He didn't need one. Where's the child? He asked, voice calm. Layla stepped into view. Soleil pressed against her chest. You'll never touch her again, he smiled coldly. You always were sentimental. You turned me into an incubator, she snapped. You turned her into a code, but you forgot one thing. What? She's human. He tilted his head. Humanity is a weakness. I cured that in her. Layla's eyes flashed. No, you just underestimated the power of it. The turning. Point the shepherd raised a hand. Snipers aligned lasers on Layla's chest, but before he could speak, bzzz, the air filled with static. The drones overhead dropped like flies. The vans flickered and went dead. Kara stood at the control panel inside the cabin, smiling. EMP detonated, courtesy of my late brother. The shepherd's eye twitched. Clever. Jayden ran at him, fist raised. The shepherd dodged it easily, then struck back with terrifying speed. Jayden flew into a tree. Stay down, the shepherd growled. He advanced on Layla. Give me the child, or everyone here dies. Layla, still bleeding from a cut on her forehead, whispered, You always thought you were creating something above humanity. He raised his hand to strike. She took out a syringe, filled with a glowing blue serum. You're wrong, and stabbed it into his neck. The serum he froze. His limbs spasmed, his eyes widened in horror. You thought you owned Soleil, Layla said, but this was coded into her blood. A self-destruct, engineered by your own arrogance. The shepherd fell to his knees, choking. She's not yours. She never was. His final words gurgled out. You don't know what you've done. Then he collapsed, dead. The remaining operatives, leaderless and confused, scattered into the forest. Kara took out 2 more before the rest vanished. Silence returned, just the wind, and the soft whimper of Soleil in Layla's arms. After the battle, Dr. Moss stitched her own shoulder with quiet determination. Kara rechecked the upload. Files are live. The world will know. Jaden sat with Layla and Soleil, wrapped in blankets. She saved herself, he said softly. No, Layla whispered. We saved her. Together. Kara walked over. Phoenix will regroup eventually. We've burned their nest. But they have others. Jaden looked at Soleil, then at Layla. Then we keep moving. But not like prey, like warriors. Layla kissed her baby's forehead. We're not running anymore. We're building a future. The final scene at dawn. The trio stood on a hill overlooking the valley. Smoke curled behind them, but in the distance, a road led to freedom. Jaden held Soleil. Layla slipped her fingers into his. Kara loaded the last of the supplies into a new vehicle, off-grid, untraceable. Dr. Moss stayed behind. Go, cover your tracks. I've done it before. As they drove off, Soleil cooed softly. Her tiny hand reached out, gripping Jaden's finger. In that moment, he realized he hadn't just saved a stranger. He'd found something worth fighting for. Child, a family, and a war still worth winning. The girl who could rewrite the world. 3 years later. Location: Iceland, off-grid research settlement. The sky above was endless and silver blue, like something out of a dream. Snow crunched under boots as Layla walked across the ice toward a cabin lined with solar panels. Inside, soft laughter echoed. Soleil's. Jaden was in the center of the room, balancing the little girl on his shoulders. Her curly hair bounced as she squealed with joy. Again, Papa? Again? Layla smiled. That word, Papa, had taken months to form from Soleil's tiny mouth, but once it came, it never stopped. She didn't call Jaden anything else. He didn't correct her. He never would. The safe years. They had spent the last 3 years in the silence of exile. No phones, no names, no digital trail. Just fake passports, coded journals, and the watchful eyes of Kara's global contacts. But the world wasn't as still as it looked. Whispers of Phoenix's collapse echoed through the dark web. Lawsuits, congressional hearings, tech stocks plummeting. Governments denying involvement while quietly purging ties. The files Kara had leaked triggered a chain reaction. Phoenix didn't fall with explosions. It crumbled under exposure. The shepherd was gone. But his ghosts weren't. Soleil still had enemies. And something inside her was changing. The fire within Soleil had always been special. Calm beyond her years, with eyes that seemed to see through people. But by her 3rd birthday, something else emerged. She started finishing Layla's sentences, describing people before she met them. One night, Jaden found her tracing complex equations into the frost on the window. Numbers he couldn't begin to understand. Dr. Moss, still alive and underground, sent a voice message through a secure channel. She's accelerating, neural development off the charts. Phoenix didn't just alter her DNA, they built an evolving code, one she's rewriting from the inside. Jaden asked the one question he feared most. Is she dangerous? Dr. Moss paused. Only if the wrong people find her again. The invitation. One cold morning, Kara appeared at the doorstep, face pale with urgency. They know. Jaden stiffened. Who? Not Phoenix. Someone worse. She handed Layla a tablet with an encrypted message. We know what the child can do. Bring her to Zurich. You'll be protected. Refuse, and the protection ends. The Falcon Group, Layla's hands trembled. Who? Are they, Kara answered. The ones who built Phoenix. The ones who funded the Shepherd. This isn't about Soleil anymore. It's about who controls the future, Jaden whispered. And they think she is the future. The Offer Zurich underground compound. A stark white room. Jaden, Layla, and Soleil sat across from a man in a suit so sharp it could slice bone. His name was Arlen Voss, CEO of Falcon Biotech, and smiling like a serpent. She's brilliant, he said, watching Soleil color a map of stars. And just 6 years from now, her brain will eclipse anything man-made. Layla's jaw clenched. What do you want? To give her the world, Arlen replied. Resources, education, protection. She could cure cancer, stop wars, invent energy we haven't imagined. We want to help her become what she was made for. Jaden leaned forward. And what does she become if we say no? Arlen didn't blink. A liability. The choice that night. Jaden and Layla stood outside the compound, watching snowflakes fall beneath electric lights. We could run again, Jaden whispered. Disappear. Layla shook her head. No matter where we go, someone will always come. As long as she's a secret, she's hunted. So what do? We let her be seen, Layla said, eyes locked on the distant horizon. On our terms. Jaden looked at her, understanding dawning. You want to go public? She nodded. The truth gave us power before. It can again. If the world sees Soleil for what she is, a child, not a weapon, they might protect her better than any bunker ever could. Jaden exhaled slowly. Then we do it together. The broadcast 3 weeks later, the video aired. A mother. A daughter. A story once buried in classified files, now told through soft tears and unshakable courage. Layla sat before the world with Soleil beside her. I was once a vessel for a corporation's dream, she said, voice calm. But that dream had no soul. My daughter gave it one. She's not a product, she's a person. The footage ended with Soleil drawing a heart with her finger on the screen. It went viral in 36 countries within an hour. Donations flooded in, threats came too. But so did allies, legacy rising, months passed. Soleil's name became a symbol, not of fear, but hope. She wasn't owned, she wasn't erased, she existed. Layla created a foundation, the Soleil Project, helping children born from unethical biotech experiments reclaim their rights and identities. Kara became the head of security. Dr. Moss ran the research team, Jaden. He took her to school every morning, built her snowmen in the garden, and kissed Layla goodnight without fear anymore. For the first time in years, they were free. And Soleil, she began writing stories. Stories about stars and monsters. Stories where little girls could fight giants and win. Final scene, 10 years later. The stage lights dimmed, and now teenage Soleil stood at the podium of the World Science and Ethics Summit. People who once hunted her now clung to her every word. I'm not here because of what I can do, she said. I'm here because someone chose to protect me when they had no reason to. She looked out at the audience. Jaden in the front row, Layla beside him, hand in his. I'm not a miracle of science. I'm proof of something more powerful. Love in the face of fear, compassion against control, and the courage to walk into the fire and walk back out with someone else's child in your arms. The crowd stood in silence, then thundered in applause. The final lines. As they left the auditorium that night, Jaden asked her, Do you remember the day I found you? Soleil smiled. I remember the day you chose to stay. That made all the difference. He pulled her close. Layla leaned in too. 3 silhouettes under the moonlight, a man, a woman, and a girl who once carried the future inside her. Now walking side by side into a world she was helping to rewrite, not as a weapon, but as a daughter, a survivor, and a light that refused to be hidden. Final lesson. Sometimes the greatest heroes don't wear armor. They carry babies through battle, love someone they didn't have to, and rewrite the future with kindness instead of control.